Part 19. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 Miles. Chapter 181. Buzz. After the registration ceremony, Zhang Wushang sacrificed an ancient treasure and punched it into the center of the 9 altars. Immediately, there was an incessant trembling sound that resounded throughout the world. I saw that the void was like water, with layers of ripples and thousands of rays of light blooming. Immediately afterwards, an ancient and mysterious secret realm appeared from the void. It can be vaguely seen that in that mysterious secret realm, there is a towering emperor of heaven, looming in the void, exuding ancient Taoist meaning. At the same time, the ancient imperial seal between Zhang Chen's eyebrows also trembled slightly. Obviously, this ancient secret realm is the secret realm of the ancient fairy court. Go in. Zhang Wushang said. Whoa. Zhang Chen didn't hesitate. He took one step and jumped into the ancient secret realm. Seal up. The moment Zhang Chen entered the secret realm, a low shout suddenly resounded. That low shout seemed to spread from the endless void. It was so vague and hard to find that it was impossible to find it. Source. This breath. The source of the strangeness. In the ancient immortal courtyard, the expressions of the giants such as ancient ancestor Suifeng changed drastically, and they all erupted with terrifying auras. They were not unfamiliar with such strange aura fluctuations. After all, not long ago, they were just in the snowy area, and they were all strange. They have encountered the creatures from the source at close range. Naturally, it is impossible to sense the special aura of the strange source wrong. But what they can't figure out is where the creatures from the strange source escaped from. You must know, today's ancient immortal court, but Zhang Wushang is sitting in charge. In front of a giant who has stepped into the level of the saint ancestor, it is impossible for those strange sources to come in. Fellow Daoist Zhang, you are well and well. When Suifeng ancient ancestor and other giants were facing a formidable enemy, a misty figure appeared from the void. Although the figure was a human figure, it had a pair of red eyes, filled with deep dark light. After he appeared, he looked directly at Zhang Wushang, the master of the immortal court. As for Suifeng ancient ancestor and others, they did not arouse the slightest interest in him. It is naturally very good to completely enlighten the saint ancestor. Speaking of which, it's all thanks to you. Zhang Wushang seemed not surprised by the appearance of the red-eyed figure, and spoke calmly. What he said was not false. In the original battle of Immortal Ancient, although Ancient Immortal Court suffered heavy losses and was almost overturned. But because of this, Zhang Wushang succeeded in nirvana and firmly established himself in the Saint Ancestor realm. Therefore, it is indeed true to say that it was because of the blessings from these strange sources. Are you not worried at all? And Zhang Wushang's calm face made the figure with red eyes startle and bewilder. With Zhang Wushang's cultivation level, it is impossible not to sense that they have sent people to sneak into the secret realm of the immortal court. The purpose is in order to obliterate Zhang Chen. But Zhang Wushang doesn't care at all now, which is extremely abnormal. Worry? You mean, the dozen or so ancient ancestors who sneaked into the secret realm of my fairy court? Zhang Wushang laughed when he heard this. This made the red-eyed figure's eyes darken, and without saying a word, he immediately wanted to communicate with the secret method. But unfortunately, the more than 10 ancient ancestors who sneaked into the secret realm of the immortal court were, no response. Don't try it, go back and prepare their funeral arrangements. Zhang Wushang didn't care about the actions of the red-eyed figure, and smiled even more. Killing more than 10 ancient ancestor-level creatures at once was enough to make them heartache even with the background of the strange source. At this time, in an ancient and mysterious ancient world, Zhang Chen, who entered the secret realm, looked indifferently at the creatures that appeared in front of him from nowhere. Those creatures are all dark creatures from strange sources, and they all have the cultivation level of the ancient ancestors. 15 ancient ancestors are dispatched together, they really think highly of me. Jiang Chen, who had already received the news from Zhang Wushang, had a sneer on his face. Under normal circumstances, the person in crisis would naturally be Jiang Chen. But now, dozens of statues have walked out of the secret realm of the fairy court. Immortal heroic spirits. These immortal heroic spirits are the giants passed down from generation to generation in the ancient fairy court. They are the weakest in cultivation. They all started in the ancient ancestor realm. There are even saint ancestors among them. This secret realm of the fairy court, to a certain extent, it can be said that it is the tomb of heroes of the ancient immortal court. The 15 ancient ancestors from the strange source broke in. When the ancient world was completely sealed, they were naturally like turtles in the urn with nowhere to escape. Capture him. After knowing that they were in a dead end, the 15 strange sources all set their sights on Jiang Chen. As long as Jiang Chen is captured, Jiang Chen can be used as a bargaining chip to allow the ancient immortal court to open this secret realm. Jiang Chen is now the descendant of the ancient immortal court, and behind him there are Tianyu and the fifth ancestor. Therefore, if Jiang Chen opens the way, the ancient immortal court will definitely have concerns. Oh! Those dark ancient ancestors, Abacus, it was a good fight, but unfortunately they went to the wrong place. As the world changed, Jiang Chen was directly teleported to the far distance. Where Jiang Chen stood, there were countless ancient ancestors and heroic spirits, taking their place and facing those dark ancients. Ancestor. At the same time, other ancient immortal court heroic spirits also rushed out in a swarm, with overwhelming momentum. Boom! Immediately, a war that could destroy the world broke out. The horror of such a war, if it were in the outside world, I am afraid that it is enough to destroy a large area. But this secret realm of the ancient world contains extremely special space methods. No matter how terrifying the shockwave is, it will be swallowed up by layers of space in an instant. It's over. Jiang Chen, who was in the distant void, stood calmly. There is a special magic in this secret realm, which makes those immortal heroes not only have the fighting power before death, but also almost immortality. Falling into such a dead situation, not to mention just the ancient ancestors, but also the dark saint ancestors, I am afraid that they will also shed their skin. Sure enough. Not long after, those dark ancient ancestors who were specially put in by Zhang Wushang were all wiped out. Phew! They are killing. After that, those immortal heroic spirits captured the origins of those dark ancestors and sent them to Jiang Chen. This is, do you know that I have deduced the evil immortal system? Jiang Chen looked moved and quickly understood. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 182. Swallow. Immediately, Jiang Chen did not hesitate. With the thought, a dark vortex appeared on his body. The origins of the dark ancient ancestors floating in the sky were all swallowed up. It is one of the 3,000 avenues that can swallow the sky. The great devouring technique of the earth. Boom! As the origins of the ancient ancestors were devoured, an extremely terrifying aura spread out from Jiang Chen. Those auras were the impurities of the origins of the ancient ancestors, which were refined and dispersed by Jiang Chen. Out! Jiang Chen's cultivation level is rising crazily at an astonishing speed. The middle stage of the 5th level True Immortal. The late stage of the 5th level True Immortal. The peak of the 5th level True Immortal. The 6th level True Immortal, the 7th level True Immortal. 8th level True Immortal. In a short period of time, Jiang Chen's cultivation level has gone from the 5th level True Immortal to the 3rd level, reaching the late 8th level True Immortal stage. This means that the 9th level True Immortal is about to be cultivated by Jiang Chen. Reaching the peak. Once the 9 turns are united, Jiang Chen can reach the realm of the Immortal King in one fell swoop. At this time. Outside world. In the ancient fairy garden. The origin has disappeared. The red-eyed creature, which had been sensing with secret methods, had strong fluctuations in its eyes. The origin disappeared, which means that the 15 ancient ancestors were already dead. In one action, 15 ancient ancestors were directly lost. Ancestor-level combat power. Even with Huang Quan's background, this hurts the vitality and is quite heartbreaking. Do you really think you can figure it out every time? Seeing the change in the expression of the red-eyed creature, Zhang Wushang smiled even more. Looking at that look, he knew that the dark ancestors who had sneaked into the secret realm of the fairy court were finished. Zhang Wushang didn't have the slightest idea about this. It's not surprising. With the horror of the immortal court secret realm, even if a saint ancestor breaks in, he will have to pay a huge price. Let alone a group of ancient ancestor realm. That is just looking for death. Oh. Hearing Zhang Wushang, if so, the red-eyed creature didn't say anything and immediately escaped. Zhang Wushang didn't stop him at all. Unless a saint ancestor was deliberately fighting to the death, he couldn't stop him if he wanted to leave. Back then, the evil tribe outside the world couldn't stop him. When he joined forces with the strange source to overthrow the ancient immortal court, they were unable to kill Zhang Wushang. Naturally, it is impossible for Zhang Wushang to leave the red-eyed creature behind now. Of course, this is also the case for all heavens and all realms. There are really too few saint ancestors. In the entire Wanyu realm, Zhang Wushang is the only known saint ancestor. As for the land beyond heaven, except for Chen Yanran of the Immortal Palace, there are only those who have not entered, and may be hiding something. Saint ancestor. But that is only possible. It is still unknown whether those giants who broke into the land outside the world in the past could break through the saint ancestor. This is why, in their Xianhuang world, they faced the evil tribes and strange sources outside the world. The reason why we can only defend passively. As word spread, the ancient ancestors of all realms took action to take charge of their respective regions. Once an abnormality is discovered, the news will be sent back immediately. Anyone who dares to slack off will be the Zhuju clan. After that, Zhang Wushang spoke, with an undoubted irony in his plain voice. As the emperor of the ancient immortal court, Zhang Wushang can be said to have the power of life and death to control the entire realm. Yes. After hearing Zhang Wushang's order, Suifeng ancient ancestor and other giants immediately escaped without stopping. Those creatures from strange sources are really weird. Since they can even sneak into the ancient immortal courtyard, how can they escape into 10,000s? It will not be a difficult problem in the realm. Naturally, the entire Wanyu orthodoxy must take action to prevent such tragic things from happening in the snow region. As for Zhang Wushang, he stopped where he was, with a deep gaze. Looking towards the secret realm of immortal court. I wonder how much chance Zhang Chen will get in the secret realm of immortal court this time. To be honest, if it was a normal era, Zhang Wushang would not let Zhang Chen enter the secret realm of immortal court. After all, no matter how much external force has no sequelae, it is still not as good as what you can achieve through your own cultivation. But it is not an exaggeration to say that the current era is plagued by internal and external troubles. Naturally, there is not enough time for Zhang Chen to grow up slowly. Time flies. Half-year later. In the secret realm of Fairy Court. Zhang Chen held the ancient seal in his hand and sat cross-legged. Around him, immortal ancient spirits sat around him, each of them shining with mysterious fairy light. It can be clearly seen that there are strands of pure fairy light coming from those ancient spirits and integrating into Zhang Chen's body. This also made Zhang Chen's aura even more majestic and terrifying. Taoist inheritance. This is the biggest secret hidden in the fairyland. To put it simply, it can be understood as being similar to an enlightenment. The ancient spirits in this secret realm all contain terrifying power, and they will pass their power on to future generations. And with the existence of this secret realm, the strong men of the ancient immortal court will be born one after another. During the turmoil in Immortal Ancient, if Ancient Immortal Court had not encountered such a world-ending crisis. By now, I am afraid that the entire Wanyu has become the strongest overlord of Wanyu. Boom. A few more days later. Zhang Chen, who was sitting cross-legged, had a terrifying and world-shaking immortal power that swept over him unscrupulously. The void with a radius of tens of thousands of miles began to tremble violently, and the endless Taoism was shattered. Immortal King. In the secret realm, Zhang Wushang, who has never left, has a dazzling light in his eyes. In just half a year, Zhang Chen broke through to the Immortal King realm. To be honest, this speed was far beyond his expectations. After all, it is not an exaggeration to say that the gap between the true Immortal Realm and the Immortal King realm is as big as a chasm. Zhang Chen has crossed that gap within half a year, which shows how talented he is. In this way, Zhang Chen stepped into the Saint Ancestor realm will not last long. Once there is one more Saint Ancestor, the strength of their Xian Huang world will be greatly improved. In the Immortal Court Secret Realm, Zhang Chen, who broke through to the Immortal King realm, did not stop here. Stopping, he continued to absorb the immortal energy of those ancient spirits. With the immortal foundation laid by Zhang Chen, the initiation of those ancient spirits and immortal energy did not have any sequelae on him. You must know that Zhang Chen not only has the innate chaotic Taoist body, but also has the ability to cultivate. He has mastered the 9 transformations to become a king method. Looking at ancient and modern times, I am afraid that no one has a stronger foundation than Zhang Chen. Naturally, Zhang Chen has no intention of letting go of this opportunity to quickly improve his cultivation. No matter it is something in the snowy region, or the twists and turns of half a year, gave Zhang Chen a sense of crisis for a strong man. In the snowy region, it was Chen Yanran who came to the rescue to prevent him from being targeted by the Holy Ancestor. Half a year ago, it was Zhang Wushang who laid the plan, and then killed all the more than 10 ancient ancestors. If it were not for Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang, Zhang Chen might not be able to withstand these 2 killings if all his cards were used. Although Zhang Chen, there are the prehistoric treasure and the killing formation are the trump cards. But in the ancient ancestral realm, especially the Saint Ancestor, even though they cannot withstand the prehistoric treasure, they can definitely dodge it. Once the time for the prehistoric treasure and the killing formation passes, Zhang Chen will have nothing to lose. There is a way. Therefore, compared to external forces, Zhang Chen feels that his own strength is more reliable. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 183. Time passed quickly again. In 3 years, it disappeared. In the past 3 years, both the heavens and the realms, as well as the places outside the heavens, have been extremely peaceful. The evil clan outside the world and the source of strangeness. I wonder if it was because of the loss of more than 10 ancient ancestors during the battle of the ancient Immortal Court. The price was too great. As a result, the evil clan outside the world and the source of strangeness have always been extremely peaceful and there is no movement at all. However, the Xianming world, which was rushing towards the Xianhuang world, was getting closer and closer. With such a speed of impact, it may not be long before the 2 worlds collide. Therefore, all the heavens and realms, with the ancient Immortal Court as the center, are rare and unite with each other to become one. And when all the powerful Taoists from all over the world gather together, their monstrous fighting power becomes extremely terrifying. For the past 3 years, Zhang Chen has been in the secret realm of the Immortal Court, ignoring the outside world. It is no exaggeration to say that the cultivation of the Immortal King realm is vastly different from that of a true immortal. Even with the help of those ancient spirits, Zhang Chen has only reached the middle stage of the Immortal King realm after practicing so far. If you practice normally, I'm afraid it will take dozens or even hundreds of years to achieve this level of cultivation. Emperor. On this day, Zhang Wushang, who was cultivating in the imperial palace, opened his eyes. A strong man from the ancient ancestor realm flew over respectfully. "What's up, Zhang?" Wushang asked. According to the news, the imperial road appeared at the end of the Dao domain. The ancient ancestor reported. Did Dilu appear? When Zhang Wushang heard this, he looked a little moved. Now the monks from all major regions have gone to the imperial road. The ancient master nodded. The emperor's road is rumored to be left by a giant at the level of the saint ancestor in the Wuxian era. It is said that on the emperor's road, the seal has a supreme opportunity, and those who get it can fly to the sky in one step. And in the history of 10,000 realms, there are indeed lucky people who have had the opportunity of the imperial road, and have since transformed into nirvana. The reason why the ancient ancestor came to report this news is naturally because of Zhang Chen. On the imperial road, there are restrictions from the ancient times. The ancient ancestor level cannot be entered, let alone the saint ancestor. Therefore, the opportunity on the emperor's road is a special opportunity belonging to the immortal king and the true immortal. For Zhang Chen, who has now set foot in the immortal king realm, it is naturally an absolute must. A good opportunity. If he can get a chance, Zhang Chen might have a chance to get a glimpse of the realm of the ancient ancestors this time. This is more than just talk. The opportunity on that imperial road is that the ancient ancestors and the holy ancestors are both quite good. It is heartbreaking. Through the ages, there are not a few saint ancestors born in the Xianhuang world. But there is only one person who dares to call himself emperor in the realm of saint ancestors. There are even rumors that the saint ancestor named emperor didn't die, just fell asleep. It's time to come out. Zhang Wushang naturally understood the meaning of the ancient ancestors' words. It has been more than 3 years since Zhang Chen entered the immortal court secret realm. The immortal Qi initiation in the immortal court secret realm is no longer of much importance to Zhang Chen. Purpose. Right now, the opportunity on the Emperor's Road is the most important thing. Whoa! Immediately, with the thought in his mind, Zhang Wushang disappeared and entered the secret realm of the immortal court. At this time, one of the 10 great realms, at the end of the Dao realm, an ancient world filled with vast ancient atmosphere emerged. Outside the ancient world, densely packed creatures have gathered. At this time, the creatures who are qualified to gather are at the great emperor level with the weakest cultivation level. Among them, the true immortal realm accounts for the majority, and the immortal king realm is no less than the great emperor realm. This shows how terrifying the monks gathered now have reached. Boom! Suddenly, a bright fairy light came from the distant sky across the sky. I saw a majestic immortal fairy court towering into the sky, seemingly traveling from the endless void. All living beings within billions of miles around felt their hearts trembling. Even those giants who aspire to reach the ancient ancestor level feel palpitations. Is Gu Xianting coming? The monks who gathered all felt something and their expressions were moved. In today's Wanyu realm, the only one with such unparalleled power is the ancient immortal court. Sure enough, as the fairy light flickered, several figures appeared from the immortal court. The leader was none other than the lord of the ancient immortal court, Zhang Wushang. Beside Zhang Wushang, was Zhang Chen, the emperor's son. This breath. How come? When they sensed Zhang Chen's cultivation, the hundreds of millions of monks who gathered there all exclaimed in shock. In just a few years, Zhang Chen's cultivation actually broke through to the immortal king realm. Has he reached the middle stage of the immortal king realm? This kind of cultivation speed is too scary, right? If he continues to practice at this speed, wouldn't it be possible for Zhang Chen to have a glimpse of the realm of the ancient ancestors in a few years? Although monks from all over the world have long known that Zhang Chen has world-shattering talents in his cultivation. But they still didn't expect that Zhang Chen's cultivation talent was so terrifying. No wonder the Lord of the ancient immortal court would personally escort him here. This is equivalent to a future saint ancestor. Of course, this is not a good thing for those monks who want to enter the imperial path. If you meet Zhang Chen on the imperial road, should you fight or avoid him? If they argue, it is very likely to anger Gu Xianting. And avoidance, once this eternal opportunity is missed, it is very likely that it will never be encountered again. After all, over the past few epochs, the number of times Dilu has appeared can be counted on one hand. The opportunity of the imperial road can be obtained by those who are able, and everyone must rely on their own strength. While countless forces were discussing secretly, Zhang Wushang seemed to have read their thoughts and spoke directly. As soon as he said these words, the eyes of those powerful men at the Immortal King level flickered. Zhang Chen's cultivation level had reached a breakthrough level. It's so weird. It's obvious that they used external force. And using external force means that Zhang Chen's combat power is far inferior to that of them who are slowly hammered to pieces. If they really face Zhang Chen, then the possibility of them winning is, but it's much bigger. Open. After that, Zhang Wushang didn't talk nonsense. He pointed out that the endless laws between heaven and earth condensed into one place. The laws broke the space, and the restrictions on the mysterious ancient world were broken inch by inch. An ancient road that seemed to be surrounded by the breath of time, space, and time emerged clearly. It looked like an imperial road, but in fact, it was vast and boundless, like an ancient continent. The ban has been broken, go in. Zhang Wushang took back his hand and spoke. Whoa! When Zhang Chen heard this, he took a step forward, and the Taoism in the space filled the air and disappeared in an instant. What a speed! The powerful immortal kings who gathered all had their eyes narrowed and their expressions solemn. They had been paying attention to Zhang Chen before. But the moment Zhang Chen stepped out, they were unable to capture Zhang Chen. Such extreme speed made him unable to capture Zhang Chen. Those powerful immortal kings felt chills in their hearts. Of course, they were horrified, but those powerful immortal kings did not hesitate at all, and immediately used their secret techniques to escape into the air and rush into the imperial path. Those true immortals and those in the great emperor realm were also shocked. Without hesitation, they swarmed out. In the blink of an eye, all the monks from all areas who had gathered rushed into the imperial path. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 miles. Chapter 184. No wonder the Emperor of Ancient Immortal Court is so confident. Those giants at the ancient ancestor level who could not enter the imperial path had different expressions. Judging from Zhang Chen's terrifying speed just now, Zhang Chen's combat power is extremely terrifying even in the Immortal King realm. In fact, even the elders in the Immortal King realm may not be able to do anything to Zhang Chen. In this battle for the Imperial Road, Zhang Chen is the most likely to seize the chance of the Imperial Road. This is probably the case, so Zhang Wushang from Ancient Immortal Courtyard is not worried at all. Boom! While the monks outside were discussing it heatedly, the monks who broke into the Imperial path were all met with murder. An immortal war spirit that seems to have survived from the ancient times appears everywhere on the Imperial Road. Many monks who broke into the Imperial Road were caught off guard and were robbed and their souls were scattered. Zhang Chen, who was the first to break in, was naturally attacked. But Zhang Chen didn't care about this at all, and wiped it out with one palm strike. When the great devouring technique appeared, the origins of those war spirits were devoured completely. I can't feel any breath, how can I find it? After that, Zhang Chen stepped into the air and used secret techniques to sense all directions. But unfortunately, the aura of Taoism on the Imperial Road was exactly the same. Even with Zhang Chen's current level of perception, he couldn't tell the difference. The difference? Zhang Chen flew directly into the air, so he naturally became a target. Hundreds of war spirits gathered from all directions and drowned Jiang Chen. But as the fairy light exploded, those who rushed to kill him, the undead souls, were all devoured. Qin Hao, who was about to fly down, suddenly moved slightly and looked towards the distant sky. In that direction, Jiang Chen sensed several extremely special auras. Judging from those auras, they seemed to belong to monks. But what Jiang Chen cares about is that the Taoist methods of those special auras are different from theirs. Shouldn't it? A horrifying thought came to Jiang Chen's mind. They are both monks, but their Taoism is completely different from theirs. Then there is only one possibility. There are creatures from other worlds that have sneaked into their big black world. As soon as he thought of this, Jiang Chen didn't hesitate at all. His figure flashed, and he immediately hid and chased after him. At this time, in the direction where Jiang Chen was fleeing, there were 7 figures, also following him secretly. The appearance of those 7 people is no different from that of the monks from the Xianhuang world. On the wasteland in front of the 7 of them, there was a figure running quickly. The man's cultivation level was only at the level of the great emperor, but he seemed to be surrounded by a secret treasure. Not only did he perfectly avoid the forbidden killing formation on the imperial road, but he also made those immortal war spirits flying in the sky ignore him. It seems that there is no mistake. This person is indeed a descendant of the Holy Emperor. After following for a long distance, some excitement emerged in the expressions of the 7 people. The emperor among the holy ancestors was called the Holy Emperor. Only the invincible beings in heaven and earth are qualified to call the emperor. No matter there is no saint emperor level existence in the Xianming world or the Xianhuang world. This is enough to show what kind of existence the saint emperor is. It is for this reason that they do not hesitate to risk their lives and sneak into the Xianhuang world. As long as if they get the opportunity of the saint emperor, they will be able to leap into the realm of the ancient ancestor. They can even lay the foundation of the saint ancestor realm. Although this move is a bit risky, as long as it succeeds, it will be equivalent to walking a great road to heaven. Several immortal kings, following a great emperor. That great emperor can still avoid all the restricted killing formations along the way. Jiang Chen, who was following behind, took everything in his eyes. This also made Jiang Chen immediately see the problem. That great emperor had either received a token from the emperor's path, or had a close relationship with that saint ancestor. After thinking about this, Jiang Chen stopped being anxious and followed him slowly. With his current level of cultivation, even ordinary ancient ancestors would find it difficult to see through his escape method. After all, Jiang Chen had obtained Dijiang's way of space. In this way, after more than 10 days, the great emperor passed through many mountains and came to a rather peaceful lake. Compared to other places where murderous secrets are spread, this lake can be said to be a paradise. Finally reached. Gu Yuanyi looked at the lake, and his tense heart relaxed a little, with an unconcealable smile on his face. After that, Gu Yuanyi was cautious, and there was an ancient seal there. That ancient seal was not made of stone. It's not wood, I don't know what kind of material it is made of. At first glance, it looks gray and unattractive. Buzzing. But as Gu Yuan took it out, the originally peaceful lake, actually started to tremble slightly. Immediately afterwards, in the center of the lake, ancient seals condensed and emerged, turning into a Taoist immortal gate. An extremely terrifying aura overflowed from the Taoist immortal gate. Demon. Gu Yuan's eyes became brighter and brighter. He held the Dao seal in his hand and immediately walked towards the immortal gate. But at this moment, destruction and calamity suddenly came, and blood was scattered all over the world. It was along that road the 7 following creatures took action at this critical moment. However, Gu Yuanyi was not immortal. At such a critical moment, he was able to avoid the fatal killing technique and was not killed. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 185. The response has been pretty good, it seems to be thanks to the seal. The 7 creatures looked at the Dao seal in Gu Yuanyi's hand with greedy eyes, and blocked Gu Yuanyi. Obviously, they had seen that Gu Yuanyi was able to avoid the murder because of the Dao seal. Melt. Gu Yuan's heart suddenly sank, and without saying a word, he immediately swallowed the Dao seal in one gulp. He had already seen that those 7 creatures all had the cultivation level of the immortal king, and it was not something he could resist. Chi chi chi. At the moment of entrance, the Dao seal turned into billions of divine lights and merged into Gu Yuanyi's limbs and bones. Integrated. Such a change caused the expressions of the 7 beings who had a chance of winning to change. They immediately took action and completely banned Gu Yuanyi. But at this time, it was too late. The Dao seal had completely become the same. The origin of Gu Yuanyi is integrated into one. If Gu Yuanyi is killed, the Dao seal will obviously disappear. I underestimated you. The 7 creatures had uncertain expressions. I didn't expect that at such a critical moment, they would be fooled by a great emperor. If I had known earlier, I would have killed them without any nonsense. There is a holy ancestor barrier on the emperor's gate, and those who are not recognized will not be able to enter. You arrived but there was no response at all. Obviously you were not recognized. So, if you kill me, then this trip will be in vain. Being stared at by the 7 immortal king giants, Gu Yuanyi broke out in cold sweat, but at this time, he became calmer. It seems you know the way to open the emperor's gate. Hearing Gu Yuanyi's words, the 7 immortal king creatures also reacted quickly. Obviously, fusing that Dao seal was the means of life-saving that Gu Yuanyi left for himself. In this case, Gu Yuanyi's body there must be a way to open the emperor's gate. Otherwise, he would not be so confident. Of course I know the way to open the emperor's gate. But if you want me to open the emperor's gate, you must start with inner demons. After entering the emperor's gate, you can't take action against me. Otherwise, even if I die, I will not let you have your wish. After Gu Yuan nodded, he put forward the conditions. Your purpose is to gain the opportunity to become the holy ancestor and break through to the ancient ancestor. What I want is just the ancient method of awakening bloodline left by my ancestors. Our goals do not conflict with each other. As if he was worried about angering these immortal kings, Gu Yuanyi followed up and said, "Okay, as you wish." The 7 immortal kings looked at each other and agreed straightforwardly. After all, they sneaked in from the outside world. The longer the time delay, the more disadvantageous it will be for them. Therefore, they have no time now to verify the ancient times. Whether Yuanyi's words are true or not, I agree for the time being and wait until I enter the emperor's gate. As for the inner demon's oath, it depends on how you look at it. At least, they don't care much. At the level where they are about to attack the ancient ancestors. How can you be afraid of a mere inner demon? After seeing the 7 immortal kings swearing an oath, Gu Yuanyi was about to enter the lake and open the emperor's door when he suddenly seemed to have a reaction and turned around suddenly. Who? The 7 immortal kings also noticed in an instant, and they all used destruction to attack and blast towards the rear. During the bombardment, they also took action to lock Gu Yuanyi in place to prevent him from escaping. A scene like after the whirlpool of the black hole appeared in the void, all the killing skills of the 7 immortal kings were swallowed up. After that, a man with a majestic body and a god walked out of the darkness. The person who came was none other than Zhang Chen, the emperor of Immortal Court. Gu Yuanyi was excited and recognized Zhang Chen, who was now at the height of the sun in the world of Wanyu. Before entering the emperor's road, the person Gu Yuanyi was most afraid of meeting was Zhang Chen. But now, with Zhang Chen's appearance, Gu Yuanyi showed hope. Because he had already sensed that the 7 immortal kings who took action were not monks from their world. Naturally, compared to the monks from the outside world, Gu Yuanyi hoped that Zhang Chen could win anyway. They are also monks of the same world. It's him. The 7 immortal kings also recognized Zhang Chen, and the cold light in their eyes was even more intense. Zhang Chen is a descendant of the ancient immortal court, and he has an incredible appearance. He is expected to become the saint ancestor in the future. Now the two worlds are about to collide. Conflict will be inevitable when the time comes. Now that they have the opportunity to destroy Zhang Chen, they will naturally not miss the opportunity. Getting rid of a future saint ancestor is definitely a great joy for their world. Kill. Immediately, the 7 giant immortal kings rushed out without any hesitation. Various mysterious techniques were used to develop unparalleled killing techniques to completely kill Zhang Chen. This killing attack, compared to before, the killing power can be said to have been improved by several levels. Whoops! Zhang Chen did not avoid this at all, and walked directly into the air. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Chen appeared directly in front of the 7 immortal kings. As for the destructive killing techniques of the 7 of them, they were directly resolved by the great devouring technique. Crack! Chirp! At the moment when he stepped into the air, there was a rolling thunder calamity exploding on Zhang Chen, accompanied by the appearance of, it was a yin-yang kunpeng that covered the sky and the sun. The Thunder Emperor's treasure technique and the kunpeng treasure technique merged into one at this time, and blasted out with great force. Immediately, there was a sound of bloody explosions, and the sky was filled with blood mist. And then scattered. Of the 7 powerful immortal kings that had been killed, 4 were brutally killed in an instant, and even the origin of the immortal soul could not escape. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 186. How so? The other 3 immortal kings who were severely injured all had their pupils shrunk, horrified and unbelievable. They all set foot in the immortal king realm countless years ago. But now, they are unexpectedly beaten by Zhang Chen. Killed 4 people so easily. Didn't Zhang Chen just enter the immortal king realm? How could his combat power be so terrifying? He is worthy of being the chosen son who re-established the ancient immortal court. In the eyes of the band Gu Yuan, there was a bright light emerging. Only a few years after he entered the immortal king, Zhang Chen was able to kill the immortal king in the same realm. If he practiced for another few decades, he would be able to set foot on the ancient ancestor. It's amazing. Thinking about an ancient ancestor who is less than 100 years old is shocking. Don't come here. If you come here again, I will kill this kid. By then, no one will be able to enter the Emperor's Gate. After seeing Zhang Chen swallowing the blood of the 4 immortal kings, he looked at them. The 3 remaining immortal kings were using Gu Yuanyi as a bargaining chip. Zhang Chen was following him all the way, and his target must be opportunity in the Emperor's Gate. They caught Gu Yuanyi, who had mastered the method of opening the Emperor's Gate, and naturally they had the upper hand. It does not mean that those who are recognized by the Emperor's Gate can enter the Emperor's Gate. You used him to threaten me, didn't you use the wrong method? Zhang Chen looked at the 3 immortal kings and spoke calmly. Before he finished speaking, there was a dazzling immortal light on the imperial gate filled with immortal patterns. This scene made the 3 immortal kings' eyes sharply focused and their expressions dull. Zhang Chen is actually someone recognized by the Emperor Sect? Then the only bargaining chip in their hands has lost its value. Poof. But at this moment, 3 figures, as fast as ghosts, appeared behind them. The bloody light reappears. The 3 immortal kings were killed by Zhang Chen before they had time to react. One Qi transforms the 3 pure states, and adds the Dharma of God and Zhang. With this kind of increase, in Zhang Chen's eyes, immortal kings with the same level of cultivation can be killed easily. The killing techniques of the prehistoric era are far from being comparable to today's mysterious magical powers. At this point, all 7 immortal kings from the outer realm who had sneaked in had been killed. As for methods such as searching for souls and refining souls, Jiang Chen had no use at all. He has now become the emperor of the ancient immortal court. It is easy to get information about the Xianming world. Open the imperial gate. After that, Jiang Chen untied the seal on Gu Yuanyi and said, "Did you lie to them?" Gu Yuanyi was startled. After turning his head to look, he realized that the fairy light flashing on the emperor's gate had disappeared. Until then, Gu Yuanyi naturally understood. Although I have an invincible appearance, fate cannot be determined by qualifications. Jiang Chen did not deny it. It was precisely because of the approval of the emperor's gate that Jiang Chen took action to kill these 7 immortal kings. If he could directly enter the emperor's gate, Jiang Chen would not bother to pay attention to them and would have broken in long ago. Went in. "Your Majesty, I have something to ask of you." Gu Yuan nodded, walked to the front and back of the emperor's gate, and said to Jiang Chen again, "Do you want the ancient magic in the emperor's sect, or do you want to worship in the ancient immortal court?" Jiang Chen said, having already seen through Gu Yuanyi's thoughts. "If possible, I would like to have both." Gu Yuanyi mustered up the courage to say. After all, now he is equivalent to the fish on the board, and there is no room for bargaining. Good. Jiang Chen did not refuse. Not only is he a descendant of the Holy Emperor, but he can also survive being trapped in such a killing situation. This Gu Yuanyi not only has amazing potential, but also seems to have extraordinary luck. If he is cultivated well, he will achieve great results in the future. Not low. Thank you, Emperor. After receiving Jiang Chen's promise, Gu Yuan was overjoyed and saluted repeatedly. After that, without any hesitation, he immediately broke the restrictions on the Emperor's gate and opened the Emperor's gate. Boom! Immediately, an extremely majestic and ancient wave the aura overflowed from the Emperor's gate. As the Emperor's gate was completely opened, a huge star field came into the eyes of Jiang Chen and the 2 of them. In that star field, there were countless starlights twinkling. Each starlight represents with an ancient inheritance. If placed in the outside world, it is enough to cause a bloody storm. But the most eye-catching thing is the immortal statue tens of thousands of feet high in the center of the star field. A Tao that is even more terrifying than the Holy Ancestor. The breath of Dharma gushes out from the immortal Dharma image. The Holy Emperor is enlightened. Jiang Chen's eyes were filled with bright light as he stared at the immortal statue. Whoa! Without hesitation, Jiang Chen took a step forward and appeared in front of the immortal statue. Buzzing. Immediately, there was a trembling sound. There was a sound. Thousands of Taoist teachings of the holy ancestors fell from the Dharma form and merged into Jiang Chen's body. This caused Jiang Chen's aura to undergo a huge transformation immediately. Those Taoist teachings of the holy ancestors were exactly what the Holy Emperor had left behind. Understand the Holy Realm. For Jiang Chen, this is equivalent to opening the door to the ancient ancestor realm and the holy ancestor realm. This means that Jiang Chen only needs to improve his cultivation level. As for the levels of the 2 realms, there is no need to worry at all. When Gu Yuan saw this, he did not stand still and immediately looked for the ancient method that could awaken his bloodline. As a descendant of the Holy Emperor, he should have had unparalleled talent. But Gu Yuan, however, because his bloodline has not been awakened, his qualifications have never been outstanding. As for his cultivation, he is stuck in the great emperor realm and cannot break through. Under the separate actions of Jiang Chen and Gu Yuanyi, time passed slowly. 7 months later. Boom! An extremely terrifying Taoist aura, like a tornado hurricane, suddenly swept across and exploded. It was Jiang Chen who had been integrating the insights of the Saint Ancestor, directly crossing the immortal King realm and setting foot on the ancient Ancestor realm. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 miles. Chapter 187. In the Ancient Ancestor Realm. Sensing the shocking and terrifying pressure on Zhang Chen, Gu Yuanyi was shocked and stunned. In just 7 months, Zhang Chen stepped from the Immortal King realm to the Ancient Ancestor realm. Such a weight, the speed of cultivation is too shocking. You must know that he, who also received the shocking inheritance, is still stuck in the Great Emperor realm. Breaking through the Great Emperor realm is extremely difficult, let alone just 7 months, it is 70 years, or even 700 years, it may be difficult to make major progress. Of course, no matter how difficult it is to break through the Great Emperor realm, it cannot be compared to the journey from the Immortal King realm to the Ancient Ancestor realm. This is why Gu Yuanyi was so shocked that he lost his voice. Because he originally thought that after awakening his bloodline and practicing, he would be able to make rapid progress and be superior to his peers. But now, after such a comparison with Zhang Chen, Gu Yuanyi's arrogance was immediately dissipated. More importantly, as far as he knew, Zhang Chen, who had broken into the Ancient Ancestor realm, was even younger than him. Seal up. When Gu Yuanyi was shocked and stunned, Zhang Chen, who had broken through the Ancient Ancestor, had a thought in his mind. Immediately, the illusory Saint Ancestor Dharma body condensed a little and was sealed into Gu Yuanyi's body. This is. Gu Yuanyi suddenly came back to his senses. After carefully sensing the situation inside his body, he was stunned. Zhang Chen actually sealed the opportunity of a Supreme Holy Emperor into his body. This is what your ancestors left behind, so you are naturally qualified to pass it on. Zhang Chen looked calm about this. Even with his current cultivation level, he couldn't subdue the Saint Ancestor Dharma body. Instead of leaving it here, it would be better to seal it into Gu Yuanyi's body. Gu Yuanyi. Now that Yuanyi has awakened his bloodline, he should echo each other with the Holy Emperor's Dharma. If it is sealed into his body, the Holy Emperor's Dharma will not dissipate. And for the ancient immortal court, this will naturally be a good thing. After all, this is tantamount to cultivating a future strong man for the ancient immortal court. Whoosh hoop whoosh whoosh. With the Dharma of the Holy Emperor, it was sealed into the body of Gu Yuanyi. The starlight inheritance in this secret realm of the universe is like thousands of rivers flowing into the sea, they all poured into Gu Yuanyi. Gone. Seeing this, Zhang Chen didn't stay any longer and left with Gu Yuanyi. Swish. The next moment, the fairy light flickered, Zhang Chen and Gu Yuanyi appeared in the outside world. Ancient Ancestor. The hundreds of millions of Taoism that gathered together immediately sensed the undisguised aura on Zhang Chen's body. At this moment, countless living beings who were originally talking and making noise suddenly fell into silence, and you could hear a needle drop. In just a few months, Zhang Chen's cultivation has undergone such a huge transformation. Isn't this too evil? Even the giants such as Suifeng, ancient ancestor of ancient immortal court, are in disbelief. When did it become so easy to break through to the ancient ancestor realm? You know, when they first broke through, from preparation to completion, it took several for 100 years. Now compared with Zhang Chen, the huge gap makes them feel ashamed. He is indeed the chosen one. Even Zhang Wushang's eyes were shining brightly and his face was full of smiles. With Zhang Chen's cultivation speed, he might be able to reach the Saint Ancestor level earlier than he expected. Emperor Lord, there were people from the Xianming world who sneaked into the Emperor's road before. I suspect that the collision between the Xianming world and the Xianhuang world will not be too far away. After Zhang Chen came out, he didn't think much about it and told about the 7 immortal kings he had encountered before. You guessed it right, news came from the Immortal Palace earlier. The great world of Xianming is approaching rapidly. It could take as long as 10 years or as short as 1 year before the two worlds will collide. When Zhang Wushang heard this, he was not surprised at all and told the news from the Immortal Palace. After all, the immortal palace has always guarded the land outside the world, and the news from the outside world is far more than that of the ancient immortal palace. Does the emperor know why the Xianming world keeps approaching us? Seeing that the emperor had already deployed, Zhang Chen took a breath and couldn't help but ask. Judging from the information from the ancient immortal court, the foundation of the Xianming world is no less than that of the Xianhuang world. This means, the Xianming world, like the Xianhuang world, will not run out of resources. Since there is no resource conflict, the behavior of the Xianming world is a bit abnormal. The specific reason has not been found yet. However, according to reliable information, it seems that the situation in Xianming world is quite bad. As Zhang Chen set foot in the ancient ancestor realm, the emperor also completely treated him as an existence of the same level. Things are not going well. Could it be that they, like us, are also being targeted by evil tribes and strange sources from outside the world? Zhang Chen said in surprise. The only people who can threaten this big world are the evil clan outside the world and the source of strangeness. I'm afraid, it's even scarier than these two. The emperor said. Let's talk about the specific situation first when we return to Immortal Court. Seeing Zhang Chen and asking questions, the emperor waved his sleeves and left with Zhang Chen and Gu Yuanyi. Soon, the news that Zhang Chen had set foot in the ancient ancestor realm spread like a tornado. And the news that the Xianming world is about to collide with the Xianhuang world. At this moment, there is no need to spread the news. The spread of this shocking news will naturally make the whole world boil and countless creatures panic. In this turmoil, after more than 2 years, the Xianming world finally came. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section author, 10 miles. Chapter 188. The Big World of Xianhuang. A place beyond heaven. Surrounded by a fairy light, a graceful figure stands in the starry sky and looks into the distance. This immortal light figure is none other than the master of the immortal palace, Chen Yanran. At the end of the star field that Chen Yanran looked at, a piece of turbid light appeared. That piece of turbid light is the Xianming world that has been making a fuss for several years. Now the barriers between the two worlds are in direct contact. However, the huge explosion that everyone expected, where the two worlds collided, did not happen. To be precise, it was the Xianming world. After touching the Xianhuang world, it stopped. When it stopped, it was obvious that someone had deliberately controlled it. Otherwise, it won't be as accurate as that. Call out. When Chen Yanran was looking at it intently, a figure tore through the void and came. The visitor is none other than the emperor of the ancient immortal court, Zhang Wushang. Actually stopped. Zhang Wushang, who came after receiving the news, looked at the turbid light in the distance in surprise. It seems that the arrival of the Xianhuang world is not accidental, but someone did it deliberately. Zhang Wushang looked at Chen Yanran and said. To be honest, I rather hope that this is accidental. Chen Yanran said. Human intervention and accidental appearance are two completely different things. The latter is a natural disaster and is inevitable. But the former is different. Being able to control a big world is even a big deal. Even the holy ancestor cannot do it. At the very least, Chen Yanran cannot control the Xianhuang world and rush towards the Xianming world. According to the news from our investigation, there is no breakthrough from the holy ancestor in the Xianming world, so there is no need to worry too much. Zhang Wushang naturally understood the meaning of Chen Yanran's words. But now, the Xianming world has listened at the most critical point. This is enough to show that the other party is not controlled by the evil clan and strange sources from outside the world. In this case, then it's not necessarily a hostile relationship with them. Let's go and meet them. Chen Yanran nodded slightly, without saying anything else, and ran towards the turbid light. The reason why she hadn't moved was because she was waiting for Zhang Wushang's arrival. The combat power of the two saint ancestors is better than it's better to go there alone. With Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang's cultivation, the distance that seemed to be far away in the sky was quickly crossed. When the two passed through the boundary barrier, in the Xianming world, seemed to be sensing something, and there were also two figures, escaping out of the air. They were a white-haired old woman, and a young man. Although they looked ordinary, only those who could penetrate the barrier of heaven and earth were only at the level of the saint ancestor. Can this be done? Granny Tianli. Venerable Four Elephants. Chen Yanran looked at the white-haired old woman and the young man, and recognized their identities. These two people were the saint ancestors of the Xianming world. Before Chen Yanran took charge of the immortal palace, she had met them with her master. One side. Unexpectedly, the little girl back then has actually entered the holy realm. The white-haired Granny Tianli also recognized Chen Yanran and was quite surprised. The holy ancestor realm is not so easy to break through. Throughout the past and present, I don't know how many geniuses and evildoers have been stuck in the ancient ancestor realm. However, I didn't expect that Chen Yanran, whose qualifications were not outstanding in the past, would actually cross that level. It seems that Chen Yanran also has great luck and great opportunities. The two seniors came to control the world of Xianming. I wonder what their intentions are. Chen Yanran didn't talk nonsense and went straight to the topic. Although she wanted to know how Granny Tianli and Venerable Four Elephants could control the Xianming world. But the other party probably would not tell her such confidential matters. Therefore, Chen Yanran did not ask any more questions, but directly asked them about their intentions. The reason why I came here this time is to make the Xianming world and the Xianhuang world blend into each other and become a supreme world. When Granny Tianli heard this, she didn't mince words and said directly. The two worlds merge. Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang were both a little surprised. The two worlds merged and turned into a supreme world. This is no small matter. Let's not talk about the impact that the two worlds merged on the forces of the two worlds. Just fusion is dangerous, so people have to be cautious. After all, if it fails, the two worlds will probably collapse. The reason? Looking at Granny Tianhua, who solemnly made the proposal, Zhang Wushang asked. Because of the dark sea, appeared. The venerable Sixiang, who was dressed in ordinary clothes, spoke in a deep voice. Dark sea. As soon as these words came out, Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang's pupils shrank sharply, extremely unbelievable. This is impossible. The next moment, Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang said in unison. The Dark Realm Sea is a top-secret thing that can only be known to the level of the Saint Ancestor. It is the source of all disasters. Every time it appears, it will bring consequences to the universe. Endless disasters. Therefore, in order to avoid future troubles forever, before the immortal ancient era, all the saint ancestors in the great world of 10 directions and the middle world of 90 directions gathered together to attack the Dark Realm Sea. The result of that battle was the universe. At the end of the fight, there were only two worlds, Xianming and Xianhuang. Naturally, the Dark Realm Sea also disappeared during those monstrous attacks. Now, hearing the Dark Realm Sea reappear, Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang, of course I couldn't believe it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section. Author, 10 Miles. Chapter 189. If it hadn't been for the emergence of the Dark Realm Sea, we wouldn't have moved the entire world away. Grandma Tianhua didn't talk nonsense. With a little finger, billions of laws surged, creating a vision. It was an endless darkness. In the darkness, countless dark creatures were vaguely visible, peeping in the dark. And the most eye-catching one, it is an endless boundary sea, which has been clearly revealed. Even the dams on the edge of the boundary sea are filled with darkness. The sealing spell of the sages is about to be broken. Looking at the ancient French script on the embankment, which was obviously getting worse and worse, Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang's eyes were hard to hide. The reason why they couldn't believe that the Sea of Darkness would come again was because on the Sea of the World, there are the supreme spells left by the sages of the ancient times. Among the sages of that era, some have surpassed the realm of the saint ancestors and reached the legendary realm. Now, even those and others the spells laid by existence will all be broken. Looking at the world, who else can stop such monstrous killings? Catastrophe. Zhang Wushang murmured softly, with despair in his voice. Although the realm of 10,000 realms has been invaded by evil tribes and strange sources from outside the world. But Zhang Wushang never lost his fighting spirit and was confident that he could block the evil clan and strange sources from outside the world. But the dark sea that emerged now directly crushed his fighting spirit. There is no way, the danger level of that dark sea is too terrifying. In the past, even those who set foot in the legendary realm disappeared after suppressing the darkness. Now, how could they, the four saint ancestors alone, conquer the Sea of Darkness? At present, the only way is to merge the two worlds and evolve into the Supreme World. Master Sixiang and Granny Tianhua looked at Chen Yanran. Although Zhang Wushang is also a giant in the Saint Ancestor realm. But the one who can really dominate the Xianhuang world is Chen Yanran, the master of the Immortal Palace. Because in the heavens in the eyes of the big world, the Immortal Palace has always been stationed in the outside world, blocking all invading enemies. In comparison, the ancient Immortal Palace, which has not been able to calm down even the inside of the Xianhuang Great World, is worse. From now on, although Chen Yanran looked solemn, she did not lose her sense of proportion, and Zhang Wushang's eyes showed despair, which was enough to tell. In addition to the gap in their strength, there was also the difference in the background of their respective traditions. Gu Xianting was dying, it was only a Taoist tradition created in the ancient immortal era. But the Immortal Palace is different. If it had not been stationed in the outer realm to fight against the prying eyes and crises of other worlds, then I am afraid that the entire Xianhuang world would have been unified by the Immortal Palace. With our current foundation, even the fusion of the two worlds will not help. Regarding the proposal of Granny Tianhua and Venerable Four Elephants, Chen Yanran thought for a long time and slowly shook her head. Let's not talk about whether there will be a devastating crisis when the two worlds merge. Even if the integration is successful, it will not affect their current situation. The situation has not improved at all. If this is the case, then why should they take risks to integrate the two worlds? For you and me, it is indeed useless to merge the two worlds. But what if this can bring back the sages of the past? Grandma Tianhua made a shocking statement and revealed her true purpose. The return of the sages. Zhang Wushang was startled, and then looked at Chen Yanran. Zhang Wushang didn't know much about the Immortal Palace where Chen Yanran was located. But one thing was clear to him. That is, Chen Yanran's master, the master of the Immortal Palace for a generation, was also a Saint Ancestor realm being. Moreover, he was not an ordinary Saint Ancestor realm, but an unparalleled giant who had reached the pinnacle of the Saint Ancestor. At that time, the entire Xianhuang world believed that Chen Yanran's master, it is expected to hit the legendary realm. However, at a certain moment, Chen Yanran's master suddenly disappeared. Instead, Chen Yanran then stepped into the Saint Ancestor realm and took charge of the Immortal Palace. Now listen to this smallpox. What do you mean by the mother-in-law? The previous masters of the Immortal Palace are still alive in the world? Even the previous immortal masters of the Immortal Palace, as well as the sages from the ancient times, are still alive? Indeed. The reason why the ancestors had to leave in the first place was because this big world suppressed the realm. If the two worlds merge, the environment of heaven and earth will become suitable for the ancestors to practice. Chen Yanran pondered. If this can be done, not only the ancestors can return. The number of saint ancestors in the Xianhuang world and Xianming world will no longer be limited. The reason why her master left in the first place was one is to attack the legendary realm. The other is to make way for her to clear the way to the saint ancestor. Because both the Xianhuang world and the Xianming world are filled with unspeakable suppression of laws. It is precisely because of those suppressions. The existence of the world prevents the monks from the two big worlds from breaking through the saint ancestor realm on a large scale. Therefore, if the plan to evolve the supreme world can succeed, then as long as there is enough time, it may not be impossible for them to suppress the dark realm sea again. This matter requires careful planning. After a long time, Chen Yanran made the decision to get rich and rich. Of course you have to be well prepared. Seeing Chen Yanran agree, Granny Tianhua and Venerable Sixiang both sighed. The fusion of the two worlds is extremely dangerous. If one party interferes and destroys it, it will never succeed. Now Chen Yanran is willing to implement this plan, then the success rate will be much greater. When the saint ancestors of the two worlds were preparing to merge the worlds. Heavenly Domain. Taisha Demon Sect. In the glorious and vast immortal demon palace. Zhang Chen, who had advanced to the realm of the ancient ancestor, sat cross-legged on the Xiantian Dao platform. There are thousands of mysterious laws that emerge from the void and merge into Zhang Chen's body. It can be clearly felt that Zhang Chen's aura is increasing crazily at an alarming speed. The insights gained from the Holy Emperor on the Imperial Road were not just as simple as allowing Zhang Chen to break through to the ancient ancestor realm. At that time, if it weren't for the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth, Zhang Chen would have been able to directly break through the limits of the Holy Ancestor. Therefore, Zhang Chen returned to the Taisha Demon Sect and relied on the original insights of the ancestor of the Taisha Demon Sect to make a breakthrough. Boom! After more than 10 days, Zhang Chen, who was sitting cross-legged, had an extremely terrifying Taoist impact on him, and it blasted away with a crash. The vast world-suppressing pressure caused the entire heaven to be shaken. There are countless ancient giants, all looking in the direction of the Taisha Demon Sect. The aura of the Holy Ancestor. Has anyone in the Taisha Demon Sect taken that step? Supreme Demon Lord, or that Supreme Demon Son? No. The aura of the Holy Ancestor is dissipating. Did it fail? After seeing the earth-shattering aura of the Holy Ancestor disappearing like a shooting star, countless giants in the heaven realm started talking heatedly. They originally thought that a Holy Ancestor would be born in their heaven realm. But they didn't expect that at that last moment, or failed. Fantasy, Invincible from the Holy Son of the Demon Section Author, 10 miles. Chapter 190. In Taisha Demon Sect. Headed by Lord Tamo, all the powerful men gathered here. Sure enough, it doesn't work. Perceiving the disappearing aura of the Holy Ancestor in the ancestral demon palace, the Supreme Demon Lord spoke. Although he was disappointed, he was not surprised. If the realm of the Holy Ancestor was so easy to break through, no one would have broken through it for so many years. Even with his senior brother's original monster appearance, he was unable to cross the bottleneck and had to go far away to find an opportunity to break through. To be honest, Zhang Chen could now glimpse the threshold of the Saint Ancestor realm. He was already shocked. The junction of the Xianhuang world and the Xianming world. A land without people in the sky. It almost succeeded. The old lady who was planning smallpox also sensed the aura of the Holy Ancestor. She turned her head and looked towards the sky. There was a look of surprise in her deep eyes. At that moment, she seemed to sense a real giant of the Holy Ancestor. As long as the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth remains, it is impossible to break through. Sensing the disappearance of the aura of the Holy Ancestors, Venerable Sixiang said. This is the suppression of the mighty power of heaven and earth. From ancient times to the present, there has never been a living being who can break through the shackles of the power of heaven and earth. Zhang Chen. Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang looked at each other, both thinking of Zhang Chen. In today's Xianhuang world, only Zhang Chen, who has received the inheritance of the Holy Ancestor, can possibly attack the Holy Ancestor realm. But it seems that, Jiang Chen still hasn't been able to cross that step. In the ancestral demon palace, even with the help of the demon ancestor's original understanding, he still cannot break through the suppression of heaven and earth. Jiang Chen, who was sitting cross-legged on the platform, slowly opened his eyes, with a look of thought in his eyes. He felt that just now, as long as he took one more step forward, he would be able to break into the Holy Ancestor realm. But unfortunately, that last step still stuck him, and he couldn't get over it no matter what. Of course, this is normal. After all, the ancestor of the Taisha demon sect was only a half-step saint ancestor, not a true saint ancestor. If you want to make a breakthrough with the help of the understanding of heaven and earth left by him, the feasibility is naturally not high. It seems that we still have to rely on the way of the Emperor of Heaven. After pondering for a long time, Jiang Chen's hands changed into seals, and a very special Taoist aura filled the air. This was Jiang Chen's understanding of the way of the Emperor of Heaven in the past. At the time, his cultivation was too weak. Even if he integrated the way of the Emperor of Heaven, he could not, it can't really be brought out. But now, Jiang Chen has entered the ancient ancestor realm, and the situation is completely different from that time. Boom! With Jiang Chen's seal, there are hundreds of millions of Dharma in the void of heaven and earth. Surging. Not long after, a family of hundreds of millions of tall emperors covering the sky stepped out from those Taoist methods. A vast imperial power that penetrated the sky and the earth swept away unscrupulously, sweeping across the 9 heavens and 10 places. There is a mysterious the Taoist meaning of the imperial realm is evolving with Jiang Chen as the center, and the mysterious Taoist meaning surges. Time flies. 50 years later. The world outside the territory. Chen Yanran and the other 4 saint ancestors, who were jointly arranging matters for the integration of the 2 realms, changed their expression slightly and immediately raised their heads and looked into the distance. At the end of the starry sky, a pitch-black darkness was slowly emerging. That darkness, it seems to be able to swallow up all the light in the world. It is strange and evil, and is filled with an indescribable and ominous atmosphere. The dark realm sea manifested so quickly. Looking at the darkness that appeared at the end of the universe, Chen Yanran and the 4 of them were extremely solemn. Originally, according to their deduction, they still had thousands of years to buffer. But now, only 50 years have passed, and the dark realm sea has actually appeared. If this continues, not to mention thousands of years, I'm afraid hundreds of years will be gone. And for existences at their level, what can they do in hundreds of years? To put it bluntly, even a simple retreat would take more than a few hundred years. We must hurry up. Chen Yanran, Zhang Wushang, Granny Tianhua, and Venerable 4 Symbols all have a sense of urgency in their hearts. They have no choice but to deal with the matter in front of them. Once the sea of darkness completely descends, they will destroy the 2 worlds. Fusion is useless. If they want to fight against the dark sea, they must take the initiative. In this urgent situation, decades of light and shadow have passed away. The darkness at the end of the universe is obvious. It became more and more intense, like a black hole, swallowing up everything visible. Not only Chen Yanran and the other 4, but also the ancient ancestor-level creatures in the Xianhuang world and the Xianming world felt the sense of foreboding. Therefore, although the news has not spread on a large scale, some people in the 2 great worlds are panicking. Fortunately, there are 4 holy ancestors suppressing them there, and there is no trouble. As for the evil tribe outside the world and the weird ones, the source, in the past few decades, has been completely silent, without any fluctuations. For this reason, Chen Yanran, the 4 great saint ancestors, did not hesitate to be distracted and went to inquire about the situation. It turned out that whether it was the evil clan from outside or the sources have all disappeared. This strange situation naturally makes Chen Yanran and the four great saint ancestors feel a little unsure. Of course, at this time, it is difficult for them to take action, so they can only leave it alone. 107 10 years passed quickly. Boom! On this day, a vast pressure shook the nine heavens, as if the sky collapsed and soared into the sky. In an instant, not only the entire Xianhuang world was alarmed, but also the creatures in the Xianming world, they are all boiling and moving. Billions of creatures are all looking in the direction of the sky. Success. The four saint ancestors, Chen Yanran, who have been jointly deployed for more than 100 years, were all stunned. Their deployment had just ended, and before the two worlds began to merge, someone actually broke through the suppression of heaven and earth and set foot in the saint ancestor realm. Already? Has Zhang Chen really crossed the limit of the holy ancestor? Chen Yanran and Zhang Wushang looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Although they had known that Zhang Chen had astonishing talent and was able to enter the saint ancestor realm long ago. But when Zhang Chen really after breaking through the bottleneck, they were still extremely shocked. How can this be? Of course, the ones who were most shocked were Granny Tianhua and Venerable Four Elephants. When Zhang Chen attacked the holy ancestor for the first time, they still swore that Zhang Chen would not be able to cross the bottleneck. But now, it has only been a while. After more than 100 years, Zhang Chen actually succeeded. There's something wrong with the smell. Soon, Granny Tianhua seemed to sense something, her pupils shrank, showing a strong look of shock. The way of the Emperor of Heaven. The Venerable Sixiang heard this and felt it carefully. His body was shocked and he exclaimed. The way of the Emperor of Heaven is rumored to be an invincible avenue in heaven and on earth. It can be said that those who practice the way of the Emperor of Heaven under the realm of the Saint Ancestor, can almost run amok. But it is precisely because the way of the Emperor of Heaven is too evil, so no one has ever reached the realm of the Holy Ancestor on this road. For this reason, those who practiced the way of the Emperor of Heaven in the past had to in the ancient ancestor realm, Sangong was recultivated. Unexpectedly, today, in the Xianhuang world, someone actually stepped into the Saint Ancestor realm. How could this not shock them?